Speaking of shakedown, let's talk about someone who got shaken down very badly, and I was quite surprised. I'm curious to get your thoughts here. David Benavidez beats the brakes off Boo Boo Andrade. And interesting thing here, I thought Andrade won the first 2 rounds. I was like, damn, this is going to be a really competitive fight. Boo Boo was in like a low stance, wasn't really using his height, but he was in there. So he looked like he was strong. Looked like he was moving the ball the right way down the field. But my God, Benavidez, I have a newfound level of respect. I knew he was tough, rugged, and smart, but the way he just adapted and adjusted and just kept pouring on the pressure. I thought the stoppage, by the way, was perfect. We didn't need to see another minute of that. I think as soon as Benavidez realized that Boo Boo Andrade, unless someone gave him a hammer, he wasn't going to hurt Benavidez with everything he had. Benavidez is like indestructible. The guy is like, he's mean, he's big, strong. He looked like the much bigger guy. And he just imposed his will on him. I mean, the body shots he was hitting Andrade with, like I could feel them in my own house. I was like, good Lord, he's going to like stop this guy early if he keeps landing those. And he eventually stopped him. I couldn't have been more impressed with Benavidez, but more importantly, I'm curious to hear what you think. Am I like way off base here, or did you see it as destructive as I did?
He was too big, too relentless, too determined, and too confident. I think that's a good place to start. I thought Andrade showed a lot of heart, did himself proud as far as the best that he could do with the situation he was in, with the equipment that he had.
I should have said that. He showed tremendous heart. I don't want to take anything away from his toughness, because I thought that he was much tougher than I had envisioned.
A lot of people would say that he fought the wrong fight by fighting in close quarters and spots and trying to bully the bully and all that stuff. That whatever. I'll attack that right away, where yeah, it's easy to say, he should have picked spots, moved all night, been Muhammad Ali. How many people could be Muhammad Ali? First of all, how many people have that ability to do that? But Ali couldn't even do that against Frazier. Now, I know it was after a layoff. It wasn't the same Ali. But when you're in there with somebody that determined, that big, that relentless, it's hard to fight the fight that we want him to fight. We want him to stand on the outside jab, make the ring bigger, change the geography, keep it on the outside. He comes in, you step out, you counter, you move to the side, you give back. It's beautiful when it's done. But to do it against the guy for 12 rounds that applies this much pressure with that much force behind the pressure, it's a lot easier said than done. And the thing I'll say about that is that in the fight plan, we had the right idea. And that's Andrade had the same idea, that he would have to slow him down in order to fight that kind of fight. But he had to do something to slow. So he did. Andrade had the right idea. He figured, I'll pick spots inside, then I'll go back outside. I'll bend my knees, like you said. I'll grab the floor. I'll be on the outside. I'll control the outside, the outside portion of the ring, where I'll keep him at the end of the jab. I'll make him, I'll make him pay for real estate. He tries to come in. I'll get off combinations, and then I'll change position again. I'll move. I'll give him an angle. I'll try to keep him a little bit behind me, make him pay full price. And every once in a while, when he puts the earmuffs on, which we talked about in the fight plan, I'll try to split the guard with the uppercut, slow him down, which he did. Slow him down a little bit, get his respect, get his attention, do something to give me a chance to box a smart fight. But there had to be, with that, the ability to slow him down, the ability and the risk of that you stay there a little too long, the risk that you get inside and then maybe that winds up taking a little too much out of you. And the thing that's not quantified here, that people can't quantify, they can't see it, they can't put their heads around it because it's hard to see it. It's not as tangible as seeing the punches that land, but just the damage that presence, that just force of nature, if you will, of a man coming at you, how that will wear you out, how that will wear and tear at you psychologically, emotionally and physically. I thought that he had the right idea, but the application, he just couldn't apply it consistently. He couldn't get it done. And again, if he was Ali and he could twinkle toe all night long, bop, 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 move to the side, bop, 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 and actually do that for 12 rounds, that's what that is the answer. That is the perfect, scenario. If you could paint up a scenario of winning against a guy like Benavidez when you're a guy like Andrade, yeah. But again, a big gulf of a difference, maybe a Grand Canyon of a difference between understanding the picture of doing that, the idea of doing that, the theory of doing that, and the actual execution of it. I thought Andrade did the best he could. He got broken down. Again, Teddy, could he have stayed outside a little bit more, made himself a little less available? What, you don't think that guy, you don't answer the door and there's a bill collector. You think he's going away? Well, he was a bill collector, Benavidez. He wasn't.
That's a good analogy.
He wasn't going away. He wasn't going away.
There's no one home. I'm coming in anyway.
I'm coming anyway, and I'll freaking keep coming, and I'll keep coming, and I'll keep coming till I get my freaking bills paid. And that was Benavidez. So yeah. You know what I mean? That's the situation Andrade had. The guy ain't going away, and even if he moves. Even if he does that, the guy's still coming. This guy's still coming. And unless you can do that at a very, very high level, it's easier said than done. And he did everything he could for what he had. He showed me tremendous heart that I didn't know if Andrade really had that. Could he have been helped a little bit if throughout it early in his career, before he got to the age he's at now, and of course Benavidez is about 9 years younger, could Andrade have been benefited by maybe fighting some fights earlier in his career that prepared him for this a little bit, that got him ready for the higher temperatures in that furnace that can that square circle can be a furnace. It's just a matter of what temperature that furnace is at that moment. Could he have been put in there where early in his career or during his career where he would have felt a little bit of more heat and possibly understood how to deal with that heat a little bit better and been better for it? That he would understand what that heat does to you, that he would understand better of what he needed to be to deal with that heat, or maybe even more importantly, that I talk about all the time, to know that he could deal with that heat. Because up until Saturday night, he never really knew it because he never experienced that. And they handpicked guys. He stayed undefeated. He won titles. I'm not knocking him. But they never took a fight. And look, a lot of guys didn't want to fight Andrade because of his style, his talent. It was hard to look good against him. It was hard to beat him. I couldn't make a lot of money with him. He wasn't an exciting guy that made exciting fights. So they weren't going to pay you, a Brinks truckload of money to fight the guy. So I understand all those things. But still, they were very, very select in opponents that they did pick. And nothing in his resume that ever was there to prepare him for this. And I'm not saying he had to fight a guy exactly like Benavidez. I'm saying, but something where it's going to, again, make him answer some questions that you don't want to be asked for the first time in the ring with a guy like Benavidez. To ask you those questions. Can you tolerate this? Are you ready to tolerate this? And he never really got asked those questions. Not to the degree that he would need Saturday night. But look, he did the best he could. I'll say it again with what he had. Benavidez, I want to give him credit. I want to give him credit that he had a fight plan. His fight plan basically was apply pressure, but also break down the body. And he did. Go to the body. I love the way he was very selective for his punches. The right time with an uppercut, the right time with a body shot. Consistent with that. Consistent with the pressure all night. But also consistent with the body work. Consistent with the, like I said, a good vision of the field where he saw, okay, it's time for an uppercut. It's time to go to the head. It's the and the knockdown. Unfortunately, the commentators missed it. But that knockdown, when he scored that knockdown in, what was the fourth round, whatever round that was, when he scored that knockdown with the right hand, all they said was big right hand. It was set up with a subtle move. See, they're making him just a big monster, the Mexican monster. But he was a smart monster because he dipped a little bit. He made a little dip on his right side and then came with that little dip disguised the punch enough to land cleanly with Andrade where he couldn't see it coming. And so he showed me those things. Now, look, he took some punches too. He took, but that was part of it too. His chin, his attitude. The punches he took, some of them were good punches by Andrade that would have affected a lot of other guys. You could say, well, Benavidez is bigger. He benefited from being he also benefited from being Benavidez. A determined, proud guy that has a constitution and has a mindset that he refused to be hurt. Because those punches still could have hurt him, but he had that resolution, that resolve, that top guys that have great chins have to have. Like, I refuse to allow this to impact me, and if it does, I'll push past it. Those punches on him had the effect. I've said this before. They had the effect that raindrops have on a windshield. And that's how he fought. There was no doubt. That's
exactly right.
What the outcome was. And it's hard to beat a guy with that attitude, with the tools and the abilities to go along that he has to go along with it. Fighting him, I tell you, it's like what was that storybook guy that had his thumb in a dike? The dam to keep it from exploding.
I know the story, but I don't know who the character was with the finger in the dike. But I know very, very well what you're talking about.
Yeah, to keep the water from coming. And how long can you keep your finger in that dike before the floodgates, before the force of that water just breaks through? Only so long. And that's kind of probably the best way I could finish with an analogy of describing that fight. Andrade was the guy with the finger in that dike the best he could, brave as hell, trying to keep that dam from crashing in with that force of all that water from breaking through. But eventually the water broke through. Eventually the force was too great. And the force of Benavidez at the end of the day was too great. He, like I said, simple things. He knew that he wasn't leaving that ring without the conquest, without conquering, without fulfilling the picture that he had in his mind.